Okay. Elric and the Beat Knight have decided to take on their little trip onwards to engage in this heist given to them by Cal Amory. And well, it's been a couple days. You have hopped a local ship from Borswood over towards the southeastern Isles. Kind of hiked another day or two through the local plains and woodlands area. You've met up with this figure who has given you the funeral carriage and the coffin as well, which you have gladly pretty much just driven the rest of the way there, onto Sheamoor, the city of tombs. Along the way, you and the Beat Knight have kind of idled up some conversation, gotten to know each other a little bit. At least a little bit more, just some standard get-togethers, like any people standing anywhere too long. You don't just stand there, you strike up a conversation. And with this, Elric, if you want to just go ahead and take it away with you and the Beat Knight traveling with this funeral carriage. Before we get there, the city isn't your sights in the horizon, but you're still a little ways away.
So we're with the funeral carriage. Do I see anything about the city? What's up with it?
From the distance, the city appears to be smaller than you expected. It's not huge, but it's certainly larger than Borswood. The city is completely surrounded by large stone masonry walls, and from the tops and over top of the gates that you can tell, the city has got a good grave vibe to it. Everything appears to be made of stone. You don't see really any thatched roofs or really much of color other than maybe some flowers or flags even you can kind of glint off of the midday sun kind of peeking through the slight overcast that the weather has given you today. But as far as you can tell, most everything's kind of blandish. It's not overly embezzled. From the distance you can tell, it doesn't appear that the architecture would show that this city is very what's the word I'm looking for? Overflowing with money just for architectural design. It appears to be very withheld.
So whatever they make off these funerals is obviously going to something else, probably the upkeep of the catacombs.
That would be a very good guess.
Alright, as we approach, I want to take a look at the paperwork and make sure I have everything literally in order.
Okay, you've got about 7 or 8, you've got about 8 documents with you, and they all appear to be just practically the same, of almost really hard to read calligraphy here with several signatures and some stamps. If you want to, go ahead and just start me off with a... Let's see, what roll would you like to do to separate your paperwork and figure out what's what? Perception?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do me a perception, straight up perception real quick.
Alright. I've got 18.
18. Alright. It takes you a little bit to read over each one of these as they're very similar, but you can easily tell each of these pretty much apart. There appears to be like a piece of paperwork giving you admittance to the morgue, one admittance like to the city, admittance to the church, one that would be like proof of the body, or like the death certificate, so to speak. They all seem to be distinguishable now, but it'll take you a minute or two to read over each one to remember which is which, as it's obviously not just straight up clear which one's which by first appearance. But
Okay.
you would be able to tell these apart.
So I've got the morgue, church, admittance to church, morgue, city, proof of body.
Essentially,
And that's it.
there's like a death certificate. There's like a certificate for the carriage use.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got what I got.
You begin to come out of kind of an open clearing, and you can see the eastern gates that you were coming up on the edge of the city. These large wooden fortified doors, and a very cliched uh, bridge running over a small stream that kind of acts as somewhat of a moat around the castle, around the city walls. The bridge is naturally built into the ground. It's not like a drawbridge or anything. With that, I believe I can adjust your screen now. If you zoom in all the way over to the right, you should see your carriage at the front gates.
To the right.
All the way to the right.
There we are. Okay.
The Beat Knight has given you full control over this. When you stopped to grab the carriage, you did in fact do that change of clothing, as Cal had set up for you. The Beat Knight is in his usual armor, but a small gemstone that he was given has given his armor more of a paladin look, with a few like tapestry embellishments. He seems to fit in more. And Elric, you were given some cloth that would be not too far unlike a paladin, but easily would kind of hide you amongst members of the cloth, or anybody of the holy origins. It's not really particular, but it's some fancified robing clothing.
Alright.
The Beat Knight is the one at the reins. As you begin to make your way towards the bridge, you can immediately see a few guards, as well as what looks like a addressee or a captain guard of some kind.
Then that's who I want to approach cautiously. Non-threateningly.
Alright. The head figure will give you a halting order right here. Elric, you can immediately notice that the two towers on either side do happen to have guards posted at the top.
Right.
This captain figure will approach about to right here and ask you to state your business.
Bringing an individual on behalf of their family for their final resting place and final respect.
This captain figure will ask for the appropriate paperwork, if you have it.
I have the proof of body and the death certificate, as well as the carriage use.
The guard will hold out a hand, expecting the papers.
I hand in the papers.
Alright, Elric, roll me. Let's see here. Just roll me another perception for me, real quick.
16.
Okay. Now you're gonna have to roll me one more perception, and that'll do it for right this second. 16 makes
17.
it. Okay. This man does not intimidate you at all. You feel calm and collected, so you are easily able to sort through this paperwork without any trouble.
Wouldn't that have been a charisma check?
Essentially, but as of right now, your first one's going to be perception.
Okay.
He looks over the paperwork. He pulls out a small little what you guess to be a wooden trinket of some sort. You really can't see. He's got like 3 documents in his hand, kind of hiding his chest. He swipes about the paper with this little wooden trinket and hands them back to you. You now see that these documents have been stamped with a seal, what you would expect to be either of this guard or this city. Some formal stamp has been placed on these documents now.
Okay.
He will look to the beat night, as well as back to you, and ask you the contents of this carriage before you will submit to a search before entrance to the city, handing you back your paperwork.
I accept the paperwork and the contents of the carriage. Besides the 2 passengers is the coffin of the deceased.
Just a side note here for everybody else and everything else. Elric, have you actually opened this carriage? Have you actually looked inside? This is a funeral carriage. It does have doors like a classic seated carriage, but it has room in the back for a coffin.
I have.
Okay.
Not.
Have you peeked through the windows? Have you touched anything?
I have peeked in the window.
Okay, through the window you would have seen the carriage is empty. It has a seat lining the back of what would be the front, so you'd be facing out the back of the carriage, but essentially there's just a large coffin sitting in the back. There's nothing else in the carriage for what you could see through the window.
Okay.
This...
I have a sense of foreboding.
One of the guards will come up and stand beside you, just in a manner as I guess you would expect someone to happen to detain someone if something were to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This captain figure will look up and down the horses real quick, adjust his eyes all about the reins and the rigging, will immediately go over to the door, give it a try. The door is locked. He will immediately look to you, Elric.
Do I have a key to the door?
You were, in fact, given a key by the gentleman who handed over the carriage.
Then I walk up. I apologize. I hand the guy the key.
He takes it. He gives you a suspicious look, as somewhat expected from this exact situation. Takes the key fits the lock and unlocks the door with no problem. He holds on to the key. He steps from where you're standing. You only see him step inside the carriage as the door kind of gently shuts behind him.
Mm-hmm.
You hear him step about. You kind of hear like he's padding around the sides of the carriage, as you would expect someone to be investigating as well. A minute or two goes by. The beat night is... You feel like he's caught eyes with you, but he's doing his best just to stay the part, not say anything, not do anything to draw attention. The captain will push the door open, come back out, hand you the key, inform you that all is in order, and you will have admittance into Sheamoor. We'll inform you to keep your paperwork in order, and you are to go straight to the morgue to prepare the body.
Before we do that, I ask. I had sent ahead to the local tailor for adequate robes. Would it be acceptable for me to stop by there?
The guard pauses a second, strokes his chin with his hands. In a moment of pondering, he will inquire, do you have any paperwork of this?
That one I do. I remember, because I made sure to have that receipt ready, right?
I'll give it to you. You did plan that.
I hand him that paper.
He looks it over. He does not stamp this, but he hands it back and tells you it will be fine, but don't take long. Kind of throwing a hand up lazily, pointing at the fact that you have a body in this carriage.
I just nod.
He will hand back your paperwork and make his way back towards the doors as the guards adjust the giant fortified door open large enough for the carriage to pass through.
Alright. Get back on the carriage.
The beat knight whispers to you in a tone, of course, only you would be able to hear. He says, "Well, that was easy enough."
Don't count your chickens. This is only the outer perimeter.
The beat knight gives a gentle nudge to the reins as you guys begin to make your way through the gates. Alright. The giant fortified doors will slowly shut behind you guys as expected. You are immediately met with a lot of greenery. There is a lot of formal gardens from where you can see, kind of in between the buildings and whatnot.
Alright.
At this moment, you realize and you remember that you were not given a map.
Yay.
The streets are not bustling, but they do have what appear to be members of the cloth escorted, by some guards, as well as your average expected town folk every here and there, just walking about. The beat knight kind of looks to you as you see him crane around just as well as you, trying to get a good look and observation about the land. He kind of scratches his helmet and has any idea where we're supposed to be going?
Do I see any guards that might be able to point me in the proper direction?
I'll say there is a guard just walking by himself about to pass you guys.
Can we flag him down quickly?
Certainly.
I would like to try.
Well, you can. I'll just go ahead and give that. You easily kind of pull attention to him, wave an arm or whatnot, and he makes his way over. Will immediately address you. What seems to be the problem? How can I help you?
We feel exceptionally stupid. We forgot to get a map to our destination. We need to head to the tailor's for adequate clothing. I called out that paperwork. And then to the morgue, etc., etc.
The guard will kind of quickly side ask you, do you happen to have the papers?
I hold out the papers.
Alright, you kind of just flash them to him. He seems to take it good enough as you were admitted. He points you in the general direction. If you want to zoom out all the way for me, I'll point out where generally the guard would be pointing you. Zoom out as much as you need. The bottom left corner, the big L in gray.
Whoa, hello. Scroll back up. There we go. Yeah.
Big L in gray at the bottom. Pretty much the bottom left green square would be the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
And the tailors, he will specify which tailor. Do you have a name? You were in fact given a name by Cal as your informant was the tailor.
Yes. I do have a name. I tell him the name.
What is the name? He says.
You said I was given a name.
Yes. Do you
Can
remember said name? Or do you want to blame it on it's been a week?
I want to blame it on it's been the week. I don't
Okay.
that.
Fair enough, Chris. We're not doing this back to back. I'll give that one to you as a freebie.
Hold on. Give me a moment. I got a bundle of paperwork here. Literally, bundle of paperwork onto the desk. Hold on. Somewhere here.
I'll give you this one freebie if you want to spend it.
No, I don't want to spend the freebie yet. I would just spend it.
The guard will begin to tap his foot.
Sandel? Sandel. Sandel the tailor.
The guard will... You see him flash of recollection over his face. Oh yes, like he's familiar with it. He'll point you over in the far direction, the kind of yellow tannish splotch on the exact left side. That's the residential area. It would be over there. Let's see, I'll ping it real quick. This one right here. Can't ping very large.
I saw no ping. You saw the ping? Oh, map, quit doing that.
Let me change to a bright red for contrast of this map. All the way at the left, the
There we go.
yellowish residential area claims it'll be over that way.
I saw it.
Okay? We'll look
Alright.
to you as if to say, will that be all? Or anything else?
I just nod and say thank you very much, sir.
He will begin to be on his way. At this point, Beat Knight will kind of suggest which way do you want to go.
To the tailors first, so let's cut through the town.
Which way? You're going to have to ping me here on which directions you'd like to go. Beat Knight is only driving.
Let's head up north.
Alright. We'll come to this intersection without any issues.
This way.
Alright. You'll hit the first intersection here and you'll notice that everywhere you look, you really can't look anywhere without seeing a guard walking the street.
Right.
Only further really kind of solidifying the fact that this place is quite guarded.
Okay.
Next.
Up.
Oh, okay, I'm kind of zooming up for this. Alright, as you reach about here, you're kind of getting into a what appears to be more of a park area, a more well, open area. It seems to be more relaxed and it's not a residential, there are no houses, but this would certainly be something of a park-like area.
Okay, well then let's keep heading left.
A left here?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see a ping, no problem. Alright, roll me perception real quick. One more time.
7.
Okay, these, I'm gonna ping them for you, these big bricks here, these big rectangles in the park area. From what you can tell, these are very large stone masonry, like almost miniatures of like a temple itself. They are certainly not large enough to be literally considered a building, but these almost look like monuments to you. But with the 7, they only look like monuments.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. Straight across the, you know.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right about here you start to make your way into a residential-ish area. You begin to see more houses than you do of any other buildings. Not quite a slums or a shanty town or anything. This is pretty well built, but certainly a residential-ish area. Quite a few people are walking about. I'll get you right about here, and you begin to notice quite a few of the townsfolk begin to start taking notice of a funeral carriage driving by, and quite a few of them are kind of craning about, not really getting in the roads, but certainly kind of guiding up on the sides of the streets, certainly trying to figure out who's died. As well as quite a few people of, well, at least from the clothing would imply, of the church or of the cloth of some kind as well, kind of collecting in groups every now and again, very close groups of maybe twos and threes, even fours, just whispering to each other. But all the residents, the townsfolk, are just actively interested, like, watching a parade go by kind of deal.
Would one of these members of the cloth possibly have a holy relic on them?
From the few that you can see, they're all of different types. You don't really see any two that look alike, but several of them have these large amulets. Some have little pendants. Some have even staffs. Each person seems to, as far as you can tell, have some item or two, not just a singular item even.
Okay, let me rephrase this. If I could pull off a pickpocket, would they likely have something like that in their pocket?
Correct. The beat knight
Okay.
notices you are intentively scanning the crowd as well as you see his helmet kind of crane side to side, and give a small mention to you in a hushed tone as expected. We've still got quite a shopping list.
I nod. I would like to pull the carriage over just quickly to like the side of the road, hop down and flag down one of the members of the cloth.
Okay. As you notice, a few of the residents are kind of wandering away. They're not really. It's not like a parade. There's not, townsfolk lining literally the roads, but the ones that you pass are actively interested in seeing this carriage go by.
Mm-hmm.
But as you pull up to the sides of the road, the streets themselves are fine cobblestone, but they are certainly far from smooth. As the beat knight tries to hound the horses to pull off to the side, uh, the cart shakes a little bit, trying to get off to the side of the road here, and you hit we'll say a stray brick, and the carriage actually bumps a little bit. You don't quite go off your seat, it's not that bad, but Elric, you certainly hear something in the back shift. It sounds like
At,
something's come loose or whatnot. The beat knight just turns his head to you. What was that?
at this at this point, I want to check the carriage, check our cargo.
Okay, you do have the key. You are at the door.
I open the door and see what's going on.
From what you can tell, as soon as you open the door, the entire coffin is shifted off of its little set moorings. It's slightly moved over to the side, but more importantly, the top half of the lid is slightly ajar, like it's come open.
I want to push it back into place.
Alright, roll me reflex. Just roll me a standard d20.
16.
Right. 16's close, but no cigar. Elric, your senses are completely just jumbled for a matter of a few seconds as you are smashed in the face by this lid springing open.
That was a good nap.
And a very familiar voice rings out.
As I poke my head up over the top of it. Oh, hi, Ulrich.
Why are you here? You are not a corpse. Not yet. I can arrange that.
It was what's your face's little idea. I can't remember his name. He wasn't important. He just offered me an adventure.
At this point, I just put my hand up to my face.
At this point, you realize that, yeah, not only have you looked at the body, you realize, well, maybe one of the many reasons why you were kind of not supposed to.
Yeah, because, it's not a body. Again, not yet.
How's your face? I hit it pretty hard.
Yes, Elric, take me 5 damage for that as you're wiping the rest of a nosebleed off.
For the record, that noise was just a face desk.
Ophelia quickly kind of fills you in that she arrived early at Boar's Wood, and as well as the Beat Knight talked to Cal about this heist before you walked back, and she expressed her interest, and the Beat Knight went on his way while she sat down with Cal. As far as you know, as far as she can tell you, Ophelia explains that she has a small little gem that it basically, once she holds, can induce a coma-like state of death. Passing, able to have her pass as a corpse.
We'll do it again because we're not there yet.
But as far as she can explain, that is all she knows about the heist. She's just supposed to be the dead body.
Do it again, we're not done yet.
You're the one that knocked it out of my hand.
Yes, I'm the one that the cart ran over and shifted everything.
Okay, fine. It was the Beat Knight's fault.
The Beat Knight will whisper down kind of in the back of the carriage. He'll kind of give a good thump on the back of the carriage and ask what's going on. Are you okay? Is everything good? As you two are not really loud enough to be heard.
Just get back in the coffin.
Fine, will you let me out?
I'll find a place to use you.
Good, I would like to get out of this dress. It's not me.
I wave my hands vigorously in her direction and back at the coffin and just go, ah!
Ophelia, at this point you have the option to, if you are really set on it, to obey his orders, to get back in the coffin, but you do not have to go into the coma-like state until you want to.
I'm gonna go ahead and actually get out of the coffin and close it.
Okay, I will go ahead and just say this out of character, that Elric will quickly run around and shut the curtains on the back of the carriage.
Absolutely, because we don't need people seeing me conversing with the body that just came out of the coffin that I am supposed to be burying.
Well, I guess it's a good thing I woke up then. Now you can't bury me.
Yeah, now the heist might be in danger. Because now we don't have a body! And we have a third person that was not approved by the guards.
Ophelia, would you like to just roll me a standard knowledge check? Or a d20 in general, if you'd like.
Who was 15?
Alright, you are not conscious for it, but seeing that you would have expected some sort of search to go on to get into the city, you certainly well believe that you can counter Elric's point here that this body was in fact counted for to get in.
But the third person was not. They looked inside the carriage. There was no additional person. The body, yes.
Elric.
You specifically, no.
Elric, you are not sure what the guard exactly looked at. You were not in a position to see if the guard in fact opened the coffin. The Beat Knight will give another hand to the back of the carriage, and Elric, he's trying to get your attention. What's gone wrong? What's up? Did we break something?
At this point, I just leave the carriage.
You step out of the carriage. The door lazily closes behind you.
I lock it.
You lock it.
beat Knight and inform him,
Did we break something?
no, but I'm going to. And I state that our body is restless.
You feel like that didn't go over really well. It takes him a second before you even say anything, and he kind of does a subtle little jump. You mean like undead?
No,
Is this a trap? Have we been set up?
I have. You have not. The body is being played by the part of our associate, Ophelia.
Oh! He will quickly turn around and give a very melodious knock on the back of the carriage. That would be like shave and a haircut. Like expecting 2 knocks from the inside.
I'll respond.
Bully! This is glorious! Wait. This is concerning.
But yeah, now we don't have a body.
Sure we do. She's the body.
She's awake.
How was she asleep?
A coma gem. She refuses to go back.
Well, I'm sure she'll be willing to cooperate when the time comes. Right?
I hope so. At this point, I go back to trying to flag down a person of the cloth to make sure we're going, under the guise of trying to make sure we're going the right direction.
Okay. Since the carriage is kind of pulled off to the side, the few townsfolk that were kind of loitering about have been on their way. A few people are still passing in the streets. We'll just say right about here, there's about 3 people, 3 males, and I'm just going to say cloth clothing, you know what I mean. Just whispering at each other, kind of glancing towards the way of the carriage. You would expect that they're probably talking about it, or you guys.
I would like to approach them.
They kind of halt their whispering, seeing that you are coming to make contact with them in some way.
It's very nice to meet you all. I had a few quick questions.
A few of them look unsure. One of them will actually take initiative and nod and, okay, what can I do for you?
We did not bring a map, and the guard pointed us in this direction. I just want to make sure that we are headed towards our proper destination. We need to head to Sundell the Tailor's first, and then the morgue. Are we headed the right way?
He looks back to the other 2, who seem to whisper something that you cannot hear. And he turns back, kind of puts his hands on his hips. Yeah. You're still over in West Residence. Sondel's will be over that way. Yeah! You're on the right path. You take another roundabout over there, and you'll keep heading south, and the morgue straight ahead. Can't miss it! Yeah! You're heading the right way. You're fine. Yeah, he looks back again to the other 2. They very excitedly nod in agreement. He turns back to you with a very unsure smile. Yeah, you're good. This does match up with what the guard has told you.
Yes. I just nod. Thank you very much. That's all I needed from you. At this point, I head back to the carriage. And I start preparing the carriage to, get moving. Do I see them moving at all? Do they start walking
They go
away?
back to whispering. You see every now and again they kind of glance up back at the carriage, like making eye contact with you guys. Did you get anything from the shopping list?
quite. I have an idea. I just need them to, like, start walking away. Which I don't think they're going to do until we start moving. So, if we can direct the horses to pass them as we move, that would be ideal.
The Beat Knight will give a gentle nod to the reins as the carriage will get back on its way. You begin to go down the streets and you see the men of the cloth kind of start walking as expected with the carriage, as you had expected.
At this point, if we can walk like we're passing them as they're passing us, I need to try and do what I did with the other guy and mage hand anything out of their pockets.
Okay. That's going to be really tricky. You guys are
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm hedging my bets.
Let's see. What would what order would I like this to go in? First off, are you picking a single target? Or are you trying to pick all three at the same time?
Ooh, that's tricky.
I don't know how honed your magic is.
I want to try and pick all of their pockets at once.
Okay. First off, just roll me a flat out d20. Roll me effectability.
Okay. How about 17?
17. Alright. You managed to snag a small little, we'll say a pendant from the last person's pocket. The other two kind of just come up empty, as they are fortunately walking the opposite direction of the carriage.
Right.
As you quickly snatch this pendant to you without anybody noticing.
Okay.
This would in fact prove to be some sort of a holy relic. You would believe this would be one of your items on your shopping list.
Awesome. Can I do a knowledge check to find out exactly what religion or something of that nature?
Sure, go ahead.
11.
Alright. It's a little unclear as it looks pretty generic. There are no defining symbols on this, but it certainly does appear in some way to you that it's almost unmistakably a holy relic. But unfortunately, with no markings, you're not quite sure how it comes off that way, but it certainly does.
Okay.
You believe this should pass?
Excellent.
Point me in your direction. We'll hit this next intersection.
They said the roundabout, so we're going down the roundabout.
Okay. You begin to enter into this open-ish area. Appears to be another park of some sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Ophelia, roll me perception if you would be so kind.
18. 18.
Alright, you just kind of sitting in the back, chilling out? What are you doing right now?
Trying to think of a way to get them a body.
Okay.
You're still the body.
With an 18, you hear some slight knocks on the back of the carriage. Not like someone's knocking on the door, but sounds like something's hitting on the back. Like something's come loose or something's making noise right off the back of the carriage. There is a window off the back, but everyone has pulled the curtain shut. So you can't just directly see because there's a curtain in your way unless you'd like to do something about that.
Can I open the curtain?
Certainly.
I want to try to open the curtain and see what's knocking.
Do you just peek or do you just flat out open the curtain?
make sure no one can see me first.
Alright, you kind of just lift the small little cloth curtain to the side, and there is a man on the back of the carriage. Someone is hanging on to the back of the carriage. He is wearing priest robes. He is hanging on the back, kind of hunkered down, very stealthily. Alright, Elric, we come to this junction here.
Okay.
Right here.
We head this way. Oops, this way.
Okay.
Is there a way for me to get out of the carriage without being noticed and crawl around?
The only access to this carriage will be the one door that is currently locked from the outside.
Can I jostle it open?
Do you believe you can pick a lock? Do you have any skills that would add to that?
I have equipment and a small knowledge on lockpicking.
Okay, let's just do a flat out D20 for me if you want to try and pick this lock.
15.
Alright. It's not a very hard lock, it's not uber padlocked or anything. You kind of easily pry this open without literally destroying anything. You are at a slow pace rolling through the residential area. You peek out and you are passing by houses as well as a few people on the streets. The beat knight is looking around, as well as Elric. I would assume you're looking about for this tailor's as well, because you do not have an exact location.
Correct.
You do not see anything. We'll go ahead and say you'll get to this intersection here. You didn't see anything on that street.
Okay, at this point, we're kind of stopping the carriage so we can get ready to make a turn.
Correct?
Well then, we're gonna, since I just gave you an opportunity and you didn't take it, we're gonna turn down to the left. This way.
Well, I certainly did. You stopped at an intersection. Okay,
Yeah,
you're
I
going down
I
this
gave
way.
her an opportunity. She didn't say anything.
I'm gonna go ahead and try and get out of the cart without being noticed. But before I do, I want to get the gem out of the coffin with a little cloth.
Okay, you easily snatch up the gem. Do you close the coffin?
No.
Okay, the coffin is open. I'll give you one roll. Give me one D20 and anything you think would add to a stealth. Give you one roll. Gotta beat a 10.
Just
12.
Alright. You take your opportunity as you are passing between people where no one's looking in your general direction. You're kind of hugging the side here. You hop out just as quick as you can, shutting the door behind you off at a storefront, like that cliche of the bus passing by and then all of a sudden there's no person kind of deal. And
so
you
the
are
bus passing by and now there is a person kind of deal.
correct. And you are now on the streets. You are still wearing your funeral gown and whatnot, unless you have taken it off since Elric has left you.
I will have taken it off and at least changed into some rags or something.
Okay?
So I look like a commoner.
Okay, you are now on the streets. Elric, roll me a perception. I'll do the beat knight. 17.
1.
The beat knight hears more clattering at the back and informs you of it.
Alright.
With a 17, the Beat Knight also notices that this up here would be your tailor's. It has a sign out front. There would happen to be a person you can see sitting upon the stoop.
Excellent. I will request that the Beat Knight check out the clattering while I try and obtain the proper robes.
Alright, you pull the carriage off to the side, respectively. There is a woman sitting on the stoop with a armful of clothing garments she appears to be sewing. The Beat Knight will hop off of the carriage and head around to investigate.
Real quick, I want to approach the gentleman on the back of the cart, like just a regular commoner, and hold out the gem.
Okay.
I found this. I was wondering if you knew what it was.
Oh, 1 second, guys. Let's slow down because I'm jumping the gun here. Ophelia, you would go first, as they would have not stopped the carriage yet. So as soon as you hop out, the carriage keeps rolling, and you try
I'll
and.
just quietly walk beside it.
Okay. When you say walk beside, I'm going to say you're walking like right here beside it.
Okay.
Okay. If you do not do anything else, the carriage will pull to a slow stop. We'll say right about here.
Is there a way that I can let Elric know that there is, or not Elric, I'm sorry. Is that right, Elric?
No, that's the name.
Okay.
You've been getting it right this entire time, and now you're second-guessing yourself?
Is there any way I can let him know that there is someone attached to the back of the carriage?
Oh, certainly. He's sitting right up top, about to get off the carriage now that the carriage has stopped.
Okay, I want to kind of notion to the back without actually saying anything.
Elric, as you step down.
Because I had no freaking clue.
Yes, as you step down from this carriage, there is all of a sudden Ophelia standing beside you, outside the carriage that was locked.
After a double take, I just stare at her and just put up a hand. Go do whatever. Do whatever. Go that way. Go away. I've got things I've got to do.
You don't listen very well. I give a frustrated groan and head back to the back of the carriage.
Alright, as soon as you turn the back, you're met with the Beat Knight. He expresses a very, somewhat quiet, but very still enthusiastic, "Good to see you!"
Hello!
He gives you a salute as he kind of looks about the back of the carriage for damage or anything.
Well, there was a gentleman attached to the back of here. I don't know where he went, though.
A gentleman, you say?
A priest-like looking guy.
On the back of the cart.
Oh, don't judge me. He was back here. I could see him through the
The
curtain.
Beat Knight is now looking up and down the cart, really making sense of this. How odd. This place is riddled with thieves. Would you suppose it would be someone in disguise? Elric, there is a lady who is sitting on her stoop here at Sondel's tailoring. She has obviously seen you guys and has seen you.
Yes, I would like to approach.
She sets her pile of clothing to the side and expresses a very kind hello. But a quick unfortunate that the shop is closed for today.
I state that's understandable. We are here on behalf of Cal.
Right. She quickly shuffles through this batch of clothing as you see her kind of peer up and look to see if anyone walking the streets happens to be looking your direction, and pulls out about 2 or 3 garments and kind of quickly stands up to meet you. Do me a favor and just tell me which one of these you like the most. She phrases very oddly, trying to hint something at you, and kind of ever so slightly wiggles the one to her left, which is an obvious pair of priest robings.
I kind of put my hand to my face, kind of like I'm thinking, and then point to the ones on the left. making it look like I was really thinking it over.
The two of you will kind of do this very awkward. What am I looking for? Clothing judgment competition here, as she simply insists you just check this fabric out, as she very politely hands it to you to feel, and oh, you must certainly check this out. This is the most exquisite fabric you've ever seen. Like you two are sharing notes on how to make fabrics and whatnot.
Right. I started agreeing with her, like, this is absolutely wonderful. And, start doing the whole playing into it.
Alright. Ophelia, you and the Beat Knight have not found any markings or anything wrong with the back of the carriage, and there's certainly no man that you have seen previously about.
Is he in the carriage now?
I don't know.
Okay, I want to check and see if he's in the carriage now.
How do you check?
Can I see through the curtain?
You would have closed the curtain at the back, so all the curtains are still closed.
Okay, I guess I'll just straight up open the door.
You open the door, which is no longer locked, and there is no one in the carriage.
Okay, I'll just shut the coffin and close the door again.
You do so. Elric, you have procured these priest robes in this little swindle conversation.
Right. All that's left on the shopping list is the key, which should be obtained by heading to the morgue and showing the proper body.
Sundell will sit back down to her sewing and express you a very kind, as well as you can guess, kind of playing it off, but somewhat genuine thank you and goodbyes.
I nod and genuinely say thank you very much, and I hope to meet you again. So,
The Beat Knight will make his way back around up to the front to see what Elric is doing. Ophelia! A woman has approached you on the street and has just absolutely gushed over your wonderful attire, your beautiful dress and clothing and jewelry.
no, she changed out, remember?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. This woman has come over here and actively asked you, what in the world are you wearing?
Well, I'm in commerce kind of clothes, rags kind of things. I'm not in my armor.
Yeah, clothes and rags.
She expresses kind of a upturned nose, disdained look at the mention of the word armor. She's in a very royal-ish dress herself, and ask where you hail from. You certainly aren't from around here.
Come on, BS your way out of this one. You should have stayed a corpse.
I explain that I am from a northern elven kingdom.
With the mention of that, she gives a very condescending look, as almost a hint of disgust as well. Now noticing you have like slight scales and a tail, and you're certainly not exactly a pure elf.
I may not be a pure elf, but I am of royalty.
She also didn't say anything. She was just had a look. It was inferred. You just basically called her out on something she didn't state.
Well, you certainly talk to yourself as the odd one you are, but regardless of royalty, you certainly don't dress the part in rags. She'll upturn her nose and kind of huff away, not wanting to be anywhere near you, and disappear around a corner.
Well, that was
Elric, what
odd.
have you done right now? Have you hopped back on the carriage?
I hopped back on the carriage.
Okay.
I'm pretending she doesn't exist. I think she went back into the carriage. I'm leaving.
The Beat Knight asks you if Ophelia's all set.
I don't know. She does her own thing. I'm not her keeper.
I want to approach and ask them what they need from me. Do they need a corpse? Because I can go back in the coffin if they really need me to.
Well, do you have any other corpses? Do you happen to have one on your body? No. We don't have a spare corpse. We only had the one corpse, and the one corpse is currently walking around.
Ophelia, you kind of zone out as Elric's ranting at you, and you just kind of see the Beat Knight ever so gently lean behind him and make helmet contact with you, looking at you like, ooh.
Being a smartass, I want to take the gem and just touch it to his skin when he's not paying attention.
Elric, your arm has fallen asleep. You were ranting. You weren't exactly paying attention, but you downright watched her do this as you're ranting at her.
I can make another corpse. Actually, there's a nice lady around the corner that's kind of interest to me right now.
With my arm still asleep, I'm fairly certain. I want to swing it around and smack her in the face with it.
Roll d20. I'm game.
Oh, that you roll good on. 20.
Roll damage. 1d6.
Six.
Now do it again.
Huh?
Do it again.
2.
Alright. Give me a sec, give me a sec.
I'm essentially just smacking her with a limp noodle.
Yes, but you critted.
Oh.
Ophelia, Elric just, like, stage dives off this carriage and just bludgeons you with his limp arm. You immediately fall to the ground. The Beat Knight will quickly jump up, forgetting the reins, and try and jump, practically tackling Elric to get him off of you as he is trying to bludgeon you with his limp arm. Sondel can see the entire thing and is quickly looking around to see if you guys are drawing attention, which unfortunately you are not because you're on the correct side to be hiding between buildings and the carriage. But Ophelia, you take 40 damage from just being bludgeoned with a leather gauntleted limp arm. Elric, take 5 more damage as you're not even sure if you've broken a bone.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Here, I'll do this. Okay.
I look at the Beat Knight. Do you
Elric,
have any of that fancy stuff?
The Beat Knight is detaining Elric right now by the chest while you're flailing about. Ophelia, you're on your ass. You're down to 60 health. The Beat Knight actively, I think, will unfortunately hit you, Elric, and just downright just kind of smack you. Get your head in the game, sir! What are you doing? The Beat Knight is disappointed.
I'm sorry, but we need a corpse. I can make one.
The Beat Knight will remember that. I am very familiar with making corpses myself, and if you two will not get along, I will do this myself. You have never heard the Beat Knight so serious. You have not actually heard him stern before, but he means it.
All right, Dad. I calm down.
Now, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, one of you is going to be in that coffin, and one of you is going to be assisting me. If you two can't be nice and decide, I will decide for you.
I raise my hand and offer to be play the part of the corpse. throw in that stipulation. You had to make sure we actually got you back.
I look at the Beat Knight. Seriously, I just want to be a part of it. So if you can take the gem out of my hand when we're done, I'll crawl back in the coffin.
Can I feel my arm yet?
Yes, well, you're bruised. You're certainly
Okay.
bruised, but you can gain feeling, and it's starting to hurt. The Beat Knight expresses he will be more than happy to help you out, Ophelia.
Huh?
The Beat Knight expresses he'll be more than happy to help you out.
Okay. I kind of look at Elric and go sulking back to the carriage.
Ophelia, you close the carriage door behind you. Elric, do you sit down?
I sit down.
The
In a huff.
The Beat Knight sits down and takes the reins, and he is not looking at you. He is staring straight. Like two squabbling siblings, this is ridiculous. You two should be able to cooperate, strangers or not. How do you think you're going to get anywhere if you just insist on losing a temper like that? As the carriage will slowly begin to take off.
I will open the coffin and commence to crawling back in it.
You crawl back in it, but you are...
After I change. I've got to change.
Okay, you change back into your clothing.